Thank you. All right. Well, hello again, friends, and welcome back to Mr. Keneally's Desktop. Today, we're going to keep on taking a look at what's going on with Reconstruction. Quick reminder, Reconstruction, pretty much a total failure. Yesterday, I showed you this video of them attempting to blow up this building in Dallas. They get started. Heads in the right direction. Looks like it's going to work. Definitely does not work. All right, so that's where we're at. Today we're going to look at couple maps and the plans for Reconstruction. What were they actually going to attempt to do? All right, so we're going to look at mostly today the political effects of Reconstruction. So let's take a look at this map. So at the end of the Civil War, this is essentially what the United States looks like. It's got all the Union states are in green there, and then what they decide to do is they're going to make the southern states be ruled essentially by the military. So split it up in these 5 different districts. Okay, Virginia's its own, the Carolinas, these 3, Arkansas and Mississippi, and Texas and Louisiana. So all 5 of these districts are being ruled by the military at this point. Okay, so they've just finished the war. This is not how the United States wants to be run. The United States does not want half of its country being under military rule. That would not be what the Constitution says about this situation. All right, so there's no real guidance. They don't know exactly what to do. The Constitution, there was nothing really in it about, hey, what if half your country wants to leave? So they've got to figure this out. The big problem is that not only are their politics broken, but with all the fighting that happened in the South, the South is essentially destroyed. Homes, transportation, farms and plantations, all of this has been destroyed by the fighting in the South. We didn't talk about Sherman's March. You'll learn about that next year, but really part of the Union strategy was to just destroy everything in their path. And they did a pretty good job about it. You can see in this picture, this used to be a railroad station. There's not really any evidence of that left. Here's an early picture of a sketch of a town that's just mostly devastated. Here's some train tracks. You can see these are not just minor fixes that they need to make. They need to make major fixes. And you know what? They need to make major fixes in the politics and in society in the South as well. So some things they're able to get fixed. These physical fixes turn out to be much easier to fix than the political and social fixes that need to be made. So just another illustration of the total destruction in parts of the South. Texas avoided much of this because there were really only just those few battles that happened, and they were able to keep the South, or able to keep the Union forces out of Texas for the most part. So there were two major plans. There we go, two major plans. Lincoln's plan, and then the Radical Republicans' plan. In Lincoln's plan, Lincoln really, we talked about before, he did not want this war at all. In fact, he told the South, listen, I think slavery is wrong, but I'm not going to end slavery. But the South didn't believe him, so end up in this Civil War. So then even after this war, he says, listen, we need to be lenient. We need to go easy on the South. We need to make it very easy for the South to come back in, rejoin the Union, and let's move on. And so he came up with what has been called now the 10% plan. He wanted to give amnesty to pretty much everyone, meaning he wanted to pardon them. He wanted to forgive them. And he was ready to pardon all but the highest ranking military officials. So anyone under, the main generals, he said, listen, you guys, it's fine. We understand. You were fighting for what you believed was right. That time's over. Here's what you need to do. You need to pledge allegiance to the United States. And he said as soon as 10% of the voting population, now, this is key, okay? So the voting population here is men, all right? And at this time, before that they had adjusted their constitutions and passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, that's white men, all right? So 10% that had voted in this 1860 election, once they took an oath of loyalty, they would recognize their government again, and they could be a state just like they had been before the Civil War. They could have senators, they could have members of the House of Representatives, they could be a full part of the country again. That's Lincoln's plan. Unfortunately, less than a week after winning the Civil War, Lincoln is shot to death. He's assassinated by John Wilkes Booth while he was at the theater. And so Lincoln and his plan are no more. And so Andrew Johnson takes over for him. I don't even include Andrew Johnson in our notes here. A lot of people consider him to be one of the worst presidents. He wanted to sometimes punish the South, but he was also blatantly racist. And so this group in Congress called the Radical Republicans, they believe in a very harsh punishment for the South. Okay, the Radical Republicans say, listen, the South caused this war. They caused some of the bloodiest moments in U.S. history still today. Gettysburg, bloodiest 3-day battle. Antietam, bloodiest single day of battle in U.S. history. All right, and so they argued for a couple of things. Number one, we need to punish the South. Okay. Number two, we need political equality. There needs to be opportunity for the now soon-to-be African-American citizens in the South. And then there needs to be economic opportunity as well. In fact, many radical Republicans, to create that economic opportunity, many of them propose that they take land away from Confederates, people who had fought in the Civil War, and give it to blacks in the South to create that economic opportunity. And so that's when the United States, the southern United States, is split into those 5 districts. It's being run by the military, and they get started on that. And they truly believe that the blacks in the South should be given the same political rights as whites, and that they should be given this economic opportunity. And this lasted for a couple of years, and they start working on this plan. The Freedmen's Bureau, which we'll talk about in the next video, it gets started. It's doing its work. It's educating people, especially former slaves. But here's what happens is that people's desire to continue to fight this battle, because people in the South are fighting this. People in the South do not want equal opportunity for everyone. Okay? Former slave owners do not want their former slaves to be their mayor, to be their governor, okay, to serve in any political capacity. Okay? They don't want them to be landowners. Okay? And so Congress and the Radical Republicans, they fight this battle for a few years, but eventually they give up pretty quickly. And so Reconstruction doesn't really ever get sorted out. They never actually rebuild society and rebuild the political system in the South. And so starting in about 1867, when the Reconstruction Act is passed, that's when you really begin to see what lasted for over 100 years in the South of segregation and keeping African Americans out of politics and trying to distance them as much as possible from economic gain in the South. So while there were a couple of plans, Lincoln's plan, Radical Republicans' plan, eventually it just came to be, you know what, we're just going to let this happen however it happens. And unfortunately, in the South, that left most of the power to white men that had power before the Civil War, and their views and ideas hadn't changed since then. All right, so that's it for the lesson today. Okay, so for Reconstruction, what it looked like, the plans. So I just want to encourage you to make sure you answer those discussion questions after the videos. We've broken it up by day, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. You need to do them in order, but you don't have to do them all on separate days. If you want to get 3 days done on a Tuesday and the other 2 done on a Thursday, because that's when you've got time to do it, however you want to do it, just please ask questions when you have them. Let me know how I can help in any way, and I will continue to check and give you as much feedback as I can. All right, so keep washing your hands. Keep your social distancing up. You're 6 feet. Stay home if you can. Stay safe, and have a great day.